Hey guys, welcome back. Eric Smith here, 5 Reasons Sports contributor, also co-host of Scouting the Fins. And in today's video, we are discussing Miami Dolphins 5th round pick, 155 overall, Dante Trader II from the University of Maryland. Trader stands at 5'10", 196 pounds as a safety. It's pretty well documented that he ran a fairly slow 4.65 40-yard dash. Looking through the draft guides, Simon Clancy points out the relative athletic score of a 2.12 ranks number 874 out of 1,108 free safeties from 1987 to 2025. Simon also points out that he was ranked as the number 5 lacrosse player in America coming out of high school. Going over to Jake Brental's guide, uh, Trader has just 3 missed tackles on 62 attempts in 2024. That comes out to a 4.8%, which is really good. But worth pointing out that that's a significant improvement over his 2022 and 2023 numbers of 15.8% and 18.3%, respectively. He also allowed 16 receptions on 23 targets for a 69.6% completion percentage. And then moving over to Dane Brugler, he had him as the number 12 safety overall and listed him as a 4th to 5th round pick. He's got 20 career passes defensed and 5 interceptions. He's played in a total of 47 games and has started all 35 games that he's played in over the past 3 seasons. Based on Dane's background information, sounds like Trader only played lacrosse as a sophomore in Maryland, where the team went 18-0 and won the NCAA championship with Trader starting every game. And then a couple of bullet points under the strengths for Dane's guide. The Maryland strength staff says he's one of the hardest workers on the team. He's wired the right way with an attitude towards training and leadership. An NFL scout said he's already a pro, the type of dude with motivational quotes on post-its and mirrors at his crib. And played on punt and punt return coverages all 4 seasons, and that totaled a total of 523 career special team snaps for Trader. With all that out of the way, let's get into Dante Trader Jr.'s film review. All right, we're going to start out with some lacrosse film because that seems to be something that a lot of people point out when talking about Trader. He's number 5 here, right? Looking at some nice defense here, sticking with the offensive player. Nice mirror skills. Ends up, fumbling the ball, I guess. I don't know if that's what you call it in lacrosse or not. And one more. So this is Trader up here again, number 5. Knocked down, gets whacked with a bunch of sticks. Able to get out of the mess there, sprinting downfield, right? And, shoots from like 12 yards out and scores a goal. All right, getting into the football stuff. Here's just a couple of, kind of random plays that I had pulled of Trader. This one here, rolling down into the box, does a really nice job of coming up and taking on that block. Ball obviously goes the other way, but we've seen defensive backs who will walk up into the box and then basically backpedal out of the way of, a tight end or a tackle coming out to block them. So I think this is a, nice thing to see from Trader here to, show that he's willing to stick his nose in there and get dirty. Next one here. So this ends up being a forced fumble. And here's number 12, Trader. He doesn't recover the fumble, but, really love the effort that he gives here. And even though he doesn't recover the fumble, he's a big reason that number 16 from Virginia is not able to end up with the ball. So, love to see this from day 3 guys that, if there's a ball on the ground, he's not, doing the Cam Newton thing and backing away because he's afraid to get injured. He's going to stick his nose in there and, try to take one for the team. And then last thing here is just the lone interception from Trader in 2024. as you can see here, right? It's an interception. Certainly belongs in the box score, but if we look at it and say that Trader has one interception in 2024 and that Jason Marshall has zero, this definitely isn't a needle mover here. It's a ball that was thrown directly to him. All right, next set of plays here is going to be Trader and his ability to fill. Um, I have it listed as run lanes, but this is obviously a swing pass. But you can see Trader here as a safety. Running that lane, getting in there, ends up making the tackle. Would like to see him be a little more physical in that talent versus or tackle versus going for the ankles there, but he's there and makes the tackle. Right. Next one here, we've got Trader on the top of the screen. Same idea that he's does a good job of stepping up in there, right, reading it, but at the point of attack, just a bit slow, not able to wrap the running back up here. But still, just like in this section, why I have it here is just the way that he's eyes on the play, scooting up there, not sitting back and waiting for it to get to him as much. Just athletically is not able to make the play on the edge there before he gets a few more yards with it. And then last one here, right? So again, we've got Trader here kind of moving up at the snap of the ball, right? And coming up to make the tackle in the hole, right? And again, right, smaller guy, a little less than 200 pounds. Safeties we talk about being in the box and filling typically like them to be a little more physical than this. Again, another tackle where he's just going down and grabbing the leg. And it was obviously effective for him with his low missed tackle rate. Just, me personally, when I look at a box safety that I'm looking to fill a lane, would like to see a little more physicality there. All right, and then kind of sticking with that theme, I guess. Um, Again, low missed tackle rate, but some of these tackle attempts just don't do it for me as a safety. Right? I know that Tyler Warren is a big physical tight end, but you got a shot to you know low risk here in terms of being able to deliver a shot to him, and kind of just half-ass puts his shoulder in there and basically misses the tackle. Right? When I'm looking at safeties, just a personal preference here. Like I'd really like to see him, you know, try to physically impose his will there. I mean, Warren's going to go out of bounds on the hit almost no matter what, and there's not really room for him to cut back because of this linebacker behind him. So just lay the wood here, right? But we don't get that from Trader in that situation. And then on this one, so this is Trader kind of line up as a linebacker and backside pursuit here. In another situation, you know, would rather see him keep his feet, run through there, right, as opposed to just kind of grabbing him from the waist and hanging on for the ride. Again, right, got the tackle, contributes to that low missed tackle rate. But, when we turn on the film, it's more than just the missed tackle rate for me. You get some of the better backs in the NFL, and in my opinion, that's just not going to cut it. And then last one, we get more of an open field tackle there, and went back and forth on this one because this is a tough play. Running at full speed, that running back has room to work, but almost misses the tackle completely. Right, overruns it. Thankfully, he's able to stop and throw his arm out there and grab a leg again to drag him down. But another one that, even though he's got that low missed tackle rate in 2024, I do still have some concerns with his tackling ability. All right, and then just looking at some of the targets that Trader had in the games that I watched. So on this one, he got Trader here up at free safety, and not an easy coverage here. Following that slot receiver across the formation. But if we look at yesterday's video with Jason Marshall on the first one that he had, where he was tracking what seemed to be a faster receiver deeper, right, and able to reduce that window. And when you watch this play, this is kind of a bigger receiver. Not sure what he runs, but I'm not thinking this is a 4-3-4-4 receiver. Um, and Trader just really isn't closing that window at all. He's keeping up, right, and is able to make the tackle. So it could be far worse, but just in my opinion, not really doing a whole lot there to endear himself as a coverage safety. Next one here, we've got Trader kind of in the box trying to man cover Tyler Warren. Um, and obviously that's a tough cover. I mean, Warren was the 14th overall pick, um, but not because he ran a fast 40. And, supposedly there were concerns about his ability to separate in the NFL here. And against Trader, you can see that Trader's not able to keep his feet, ends up getting a holding or a pass interference penalty. You see the flag coming in there, but just not able to keep his feet and stay with Warren on that one. Next one here, so you see Trader in the slot. Receivers are, switching off the line of scrimmage, and you can see again that you know doesn't have the closing speed. Not an awful position, right? But a better throw here. That receiver is able to not slow down and move to the inside, and this is likely a what is that 54-yard touchdown pass, and that's kind of a worrisome thing when you talk about safeties. And this is just going to be another angle of that. And you can see that the routes kind of knock him off the coverage, and that happens, right? But the higher higher ability safeties and cornerbacks in the NFL have that closing speed that they're able to close that, and just don't see that there from Trader. And then last one here. So this is going to be Trader again up here in the box, another switch type route with the tight end and the receiver. And just another example that he's not in an awful position, right? Makes the tackle, another ankle pick tackle, but this guy is not super athletic, at least as far as I can tell. So if we're talking about a safety who is looking at possibly playing defensive snaps in the NFL, I really would like to see better from him in terms of being able to contest at the catch point there. And then just the last set of videos. This is not going to be anything requiring a whole lot of analysis, but we talked about his 500 plus snaps on special teams, right? And those come in a variety of ways. We can see Trader here um, playing up on the line on the field goal unit, and then we see him playing back on the field goal unit. Next, we have him. I think he's right here on the punt team, right? Ends up being the one that downs this punt, and then on the punt return team, this is Trader out here on the edge. So again, nothing to really review here. Just you know, sharing some of the opportunities he had on special teams. And again, after we went to that film review, I think that's going to be where Trader's contributions can be for the Dolphins. All right, so now that we're done with the film review, let's talk about my overall view of Dante Trader Jr. And I'm not as high on him as some people in terms of his ability to contribute on the defense. I have significant concerns about his lack of physicality as a box safety and his lack of speed to hang with receivers on the outside of the box. In the games I watched, I don't really see any great ball skills. And if he does make it on the field defensively, I think it would be a couple years down the road. It'll be more of the Jordan Poyer type who is on the field far more for his strengths as a communicator and getting players lined up right than it would be for his on field performance. And I know that's a pain point for Dolphin fans today in terms of safeties, but there is value to a player like that if you can surround him with players who cover up that safety's vulnerabilities, which Miami did not do for Poyer in 2024. And it's not all negative. I'm fairly confident that Trader is going to make the roster and become a core special teams player, maybe taking over more of the Elijah Campbell role, and Campbell's role in the defense expands slightly. Trader sounds like an excellent person off the field and in the locker room. I think this was somewhat of a high floor pick compared to someone like Jason Marshall because even if Trader doesn't contribute on the defense, he's a day one core special teams contributor, which I can't necessarily say for Marshall. All right, so as always, I appreciate you guys watching these videos, and I'll continue to pump them out for the rest of the guys in this draft as long as they continue to get the views. Feel free to leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of Trader, and we'll talk again soon.